right, welcome to another episode of Eat Sleep Fantasy Football. We got a lot of good stuff for you today, and if you are joining us on Periscope, Twitter, or YouTube, you get the wonderful pleasure of not only seeing my wonderful face, but look at this handsome guy across me, Thunder Crespo. How you doing, Armando?
Doing great, man. I am fantastic.
I agree. You are also fantastic, and it is wonderful to see your face. So we got a lot of great stuff today that we're going to be jumping around on, whether that's news, waiver wires. We've got your stuff, and man, what a crazy week. I feel like this week was the week of the backup running back. You just had a lot of guys, Jamal Williams, Latavius Murray, these guys that haven't really been playing a lot, put up historic numbers. So if you had one of those guys, you got really, really lucky. But without further ado, Armando, take us through the notes, please, sir.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to start with a little bit of news and trickle in some waiver wire stuff as we go. I think the biggest piece of news right now, according to Fantasy Football, is Kenyon Drake getting traded to the Cardinals for a fifth. Just so everyone knows, Chase Edmonds is week to week and DJ is day to day. So what's happening now, John?
Man, I'll say this. It's rough backfield, first and foremost. It's not a good backfield. And whenever you looked at what happened with David Johnson, who's a premium guy, and then Chase Edmonds starts to come on late, now you're going to complicate it even further with what's going on now. Now, I will say this, for this week's purposes, the Cardinals have the early game against the 49ers at home. It does look like David Johnson and Chase Edmonds are both going to be out. But, man, this was one of the premium backfields that everybody wanted a part of with David Johnson because he was the guy. It doesn't seem like that is the case anymore. I want to stay away from all of these things, all of them. Ugh.
Yeah, I would say, I think you should be grateful that DJ's injured and he's not playing against San Francisco, so you don't feel obligated to start him, because if he played, he would do nothing. So at least you're saving yourself that headache.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a bad week. You don't want to go against the 49ers defense unless you have Christian McCaffrey, but even he struggled throughout most of the game. He had those two big runs, which was awesome. But this is just going to be an ugly game. I really do think it's going to be ugly from the side of the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think it's going to go well. And, man, I just really don't know what to do going forward. I feel like David Johnson's still the guy. But, man, Chase Edmonds, I don't know. Do you want anybody outside of David Johnson moving forward?
I'd be happy to have Chase Edmonds as a handcuff in Dynasty, definitely. Eventually David Johnson's going to leave and it's going to be Chase Edmonds. Kenyon Drake's nothing. If you own Kenyon Drake, you can cut him. I think it's safe to do so. You're not starting him this week, and there's a chance that David Johnson will be fine after their bye, which is right after their Thursday night game. So I think they're both droppable. So, yeah, I would hold on to Chase Edmonds if you have him, because I think he's useful in Dynasty purposes, and that's about it. Yeah. I think DJ's, a low end a running back one,
maybe
like 12,
not even that
13,
now.
maybe?
And I'm a big David Johnson guy. I have been for a long time, but even with this news, David Johnson's value goes down considerably. Now, I will say this, the primary beneficiary of all of this, and we're going to talk a little bit about this later, our homeboy Mark Walton, who, good Lord.
We could talk about it right now. His value. Okay, he's going to be on a waiver wire column. He is the biggest beneficiary from this. He's available in a shit ton of leagues, and his schedule is pretty fantastic going forward.
Right. It's very special what he promises, because here's the deal. If you can get a starting running back, then in the NFL, there's only 32 teams, and you add in bye weeks, you add in the crowded backfields, you add in all those things. Mark Walton is talented, first off, and this is a somewhat NFL team in the Miami Dolphins. So the fact that you can get one of those guys, it definitely counts towards something.
Yeah, I just want to say this, just so if he's available and you are in the playoff hunt, he plays the Jets, the Giants, the Bengals, week 14, 15, and 16. Those are all bottom 10, bottom 5 rush defenses, as well as Cleveland week 12. So you are getting a guy that you can pretty confidently put at a flex option, maybe RB2 in the playoffs, because they're going to be in those games for sure.
Oh, for sure, I don't know, but he will have value, because even when they're getting blown out, Mark Walton is the pass down back,
exactly,
which is huge. So I get the Dolphins suck. Everybody understands that. You don't have to worry about that. But because of, and we're going to get to see it tonight, the Dolphins, depending on when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it live, that's awesome. But we're going to get to see exactly the workload before waivers even processes. And if he is available out there, and if you have another player that you could drop to pick him up, that's kind of a sneaky move, depending on your fantasy league.
Definitely.
Go get that boy now. Go get him.
I definitely agree with that. It's going to be nice to see. Moving on, we also know that Matt Ryan will be ready for Week 10, which is good news if you can grab him. Do you have a bye week 9? So there's something to note. And a bigger piece of news is Darius Geis is on track to suit up Week 11. What are we doing about Adrian Peterson now? He had a good game on Thursday.
He did have a good game, but as soon as Geis returns, again, this backfield's going to be, I guess, yucky for lack of a better term. Again, not something I really want to grab. Geis is going to be the player to own moving forward just because they've got a lot invested in him. But again, can he stay healthy? I don't know. But once he is healthy, I do expect by probably Week 12 or 13 for him to lead the team in carries. But again, Washington, they've mishandled injuries so many times in the past. So not one of those teams that you're just like, oh, yay, I want to be a part of this.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think he's great in Dynasty formats, but I'm not touching him in standard in any way. A couple quarterback things that happened. Case Keenum is in concussion protocol, and Haskins looks absolutely terrible. And, I don't know if I want anyone on the Redskins right now.
It's bad. Terry McLaurin, maybe. But
maybe,
I like Terry McLaurin. I think long-term he's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
But, stay away. There's a few teams you just don't want to be a part of because they're just bad coach teams. They don't have the personnel, and it's poorly run top to bottom. And I think the Dolphins and I think the Redskins, those are the two. There's a few other. The Jets are getting closer and closer to that. They completely butchered everything about Le'Veon Bell.
I don't understand what the fuck they're doing over there. Since we're talking about the Jets right now, exactly. Sam Darnold is going to play through a thumb injury, and that's not a good thing. Sam Darnold looked bad. He's continuing to see ghosts everywhere he looks.
That's hilarious.
I don't know what to do with the Jets. I was all in on Le'Veon Bell. He plays the Dolphins next week. His schedule is fantastic, but they look bad.
You can't get out of the way of poor coaching. And so you got poor coaching top to bottom. And they're a bad football team. 3 interceptions from Darnold. Le'Veon Bell only got 9 carries, and they lost by 14. And they scored at the end. So it was a 1-possession game for almost the entire time, and Le'Veon Bell got 9 carries. 9 carries. And you're going to choose to throw the ball 30 times with Sam Darnold behind that offensive line against this defense. You're a moron.
Yeah, they're Adam Gase should not be an NFL coach, maybe not even college. He should not be anywhere.
Just look at how he left his previous team. That's his resume.
Yeah. It's bad. He's awful. He is. I'm glad he's gone for the Dolphins. I'm a Dolphins fan. So Marquis Brown is on track to suit up on Sunday against the Patriots, which is fantastic news because they're playing the Patriots.
Will it matter, though? The Patriots, their defense and what they've been able to do has been very, very special. Them and the 49ers definitely a cut above everybody else defensively. But if there is going to be a team that can beat the Patriots, man, hopefully, you always root against the Patriots unless you're a Patriots fan, just because they've won so much. But if there's going to be a team that can beat the Patriots, it's going to be one of those ground and pound running style teams that can maybe hit a deep pass to Hollywood Brown. But I will say this, there's no doubt Stephen Gilmore is going to be shadowing Marquis Brown. So you want to stay away fantasy-wise if you have better options. If you don't, which most people won't, I get it, but take that for what you want.
Yeah, I agree. Cam Newton will not start Week 9. He's still in his rehab form. Kyle Allen did not look good against the 49ers. I don't understand why the 49ers are so good. It just doesn't make any sense. They were so bad last year.
Yeah, they have stepped it up for sure. Coaching, defensive line, Nick Bosa's playing like player of the year type, defensive player of the year. Not a rookie of the year, but defensive player of the year. It's pretty special what they got going on. Pretty special.
Yeah. So it looks like Joe Flacco is going to be out, and there's a chance that Locke will take over. He has a herniated disc. What are we going to do with the Broncos going forward? Is this help Cortland Sutton and everyone else, or is this are we a little worried about this? Is this going to be Sam Darnold all over again?
I'll say this, Cortland Sutton has looked like a top 12 wide receiver talent-wise, not necessarily fantasy or whatever. The guy's made some incredible down-the-field plays. And now he's hindered dramatically because it's a running offense and Joe Flacco. Who knows what's going to happen, whenever they bring Drew Lock or whoever else in there. Who knows what's going to happen. It definitely doesn't help Cortland Sutton, but I will say this. Cortland Sutton's going to be a major player in the NFL long term. So Dynasty leagues, get that guy however you can. But with Royce Freeman out as well, having a shoulder issue, the only thing that's been holding back this backfield is, Phillip Lindsay, is carries. It's touches. You've got to expect that number to go up. You have to. So if that happens, who knows? We'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. So moving on, Miles Sanders was injured. It looks like he won't miss any time going forward. I think this kind of helps everyone on that offense because they destroyed the Philadelphia. They destroyed the Bills, so that's good to hear. I was going to put Boston Scott on a waiver wire column, but he did not. He's fine, so that's good news.
Right, yeah, Miles Sanders looked great, very explosive. I think it's been 4 straight games for the Eagles that Miles Sanders has had the longest pass completion. So whenever you can do that at the running back position, yikes, yeah, you got to feel really good about things.
Yeah, all right, let's dive in a little bit into the waiver wire column. We already talked about Mark Walton, another guy that is kind of starting to shine, former Dolphin, Ryan Tannehill. He's available in 70% of leagues, and they're on a 2-game winning streak, 4-4 right now. I don't know if I'm buying into it, but I'm definitely picking up Ryan Tannehill.
Man, it's weird because the Tennessee Titans have been 9-7 forever, and Marcus Mariota has more losses than touchdown passes, which is never a good thing. But what this guy can bring, who would have guessed? This is what a decent team could look like with Ryan Tannehill. I'm not a believer necessarily, but yeah, I absolutely love it. I think they're pretty special. So yeah, just got to see what happens, man.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely matchup based. Their schedule isn't great, but if you're desperate for quarterback, I mean I'm starting him in SFB. You need 2 quarterbacks in that league, so 2 quarterback formats. He's great. He's fine, but beyond that, I'm not starting him in standard unless he's playing Tampa Bay every week. So Derek Carr is our next quarterback that's on the waiver wire. He's available in 74% of leagues. He finally threw for 300 yards, and he threw 3 touchdowns. He's definitely a bye-week fill-in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The way that – here's the thing. You don't know what the hell to do with the Raiders because they're the best team in the NFL or the worst team. And they play great teams well, and they play bad teams really bad. They're just weird as hell. And so from a predictability standpoint, we're going to get into our betting segment here in a second, but I'm staying the hell away from all Raiders games whenever it comes to spreads and pick'ems and whatever else, just because you don't know what's going on. However, it does seem at any point they can put up some touchdowns because of guys like Darren Waller, Tyrell Williams, and now Hunter Renfrow with that amazing play that took place. It's a swing for the fences type of play, but again, as a bye week fill-in, cannot be upset with starting Derek Carr as a bye week, especially if you have somebody like Matt Ryan or throw in Patrick Mahomes if he's not in there. No problem with that at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would not waste more than 10% of Fab. We have 15% for Ryan Tannehill, but I think both of them are just bye-week fill-ins. As soon as one of your guys is out, like Aaron Rodgers or anything like that, throw them in there. But just pay attention to their schedule so you know when to grab them.
Yeah, and I'll say this also, thanks to our producer, Clayton Cadu. You can find him at Cadu Clayton. He puts out one of the best waiver wire articles in the absolute business. He's been doing it year in, year out. One of the best fantasy follows, period, at Cadu Clayton, spelled weird French-Canadian way, so you can figure that out. I'm dyslexic, so French-Canadian and dyslexia do not go together. But Clayton does with waiver wire articles.
All right, so moving on, we have a couple of wide receivers on our waiver wire column. We have Chris Conley. He is 98% available. Both Marquise Lee and D.D. Westbrook are both left the game injured. I think Conley's going to be usable, especially with those 2 guys out.
Whoever is a wide receiver, starting wide receiver on that team, you've got to be pretty excited about because Gardner Minshew turns out, pretty damn good at football, and he is putting up some wonderful stats. A lot of fun stuff to talk about. So if those two guys are out, yes, he is a fantasy viable play. If they are not, I am staying away. Another guy I really like on that offense is Josh Oliver, the tight end that was injured early, but his snaps are increasing, his targets are increasing. Really like Josh Oliver there too.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Another wide receiver that's on our column is Danny Amendola. We talked a little bit about him yesterday. He put up a really nice stat line, 8 passes for 100 yards. He's getting targeted up the yin-yang. Is he worth a grab? It's Danny Amendola.
We saw this week 1. Week 1, he comes out and has like 9 catches or something like that, and everybody's like, "Oh, get Danny Amendola." Then he burned everybody with 0 targets, and so we see this. This is Matt Patricia. So here's the deal. He comes from New England. They are matchup dependent. They don't care about which guys are getting what. It's what they can exploit against the other team, which is good coaching. I hate Matt Patricia as a person, human coach, whatever, but this aspect is really, really good. Detroit has no running game whatsoever, and so they're just airing the ball out. And so if you're guaranteed they can't run the ball that week, start Danny Amendola. If not, if it looks like there's a susceptible run defense or a lack thereof, then you can play Danny Amendola. But if they're going to run the ball, I'm telling you right now, there are going to be weeks where he puts up a big donut again. So buyer beware.
Exactly. So Demaryius Thomas is our last guy in a waiver wire column. He is 94% available. I know it sounds really bad, but he looks pretty decent.
He does.
He plays the Dolphins next week, so
that's what I want somebody to say about me, Armando, at some point in life.
Yeah,
pretty decent.
Pretty decent. You're a pretty decent human being. So he's 94% available. He's definitely again, I hate saying it so much, but he's a bye week fill-in. He's playing the Dolphins this week. If you need a wide receiver and you're desperate, I think he's definitely worth a grab and a start.
Yeah, and depending on when you are listening to this, the NFL trade deadline is Tuesday. Very possible one of these wide receivers gets moves for the Jets. Probably Robbie Anderson, which is stupid on the Jets' part, but definitely a possibility. If that happens, man, even more snaps, even more targets, even more opportunity for Demaryius Thomas, who we thought was dead. Let's just be honest. When that Achilles went out for the Texans, I didn't think he'd ever play again. But thank you to the Jets for allowing players that probably should move on to Old Yeller stage still have relevance because your team is pathetic. Speaking of pathetic, the Chicago Bears, okay?
Oof.
Chicago Bears are bad. Their coaching's bad. Their quarterback's, I think, one of the worst in the NFL. Marcus Mariota bad. Mitch Trubisky, he's awful. And their kicker is bad, too. My bet of the week with Nitrogen Sports, our sponsor. Here's what you got to do. We've done really, really well betting segments this year. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you've capitalized on that, made some money with us, had some fun. Head over to eatsleepfantasy.com. You're going to see the Nitrogen Sports banner. Click on that. The #1 Bitcoin betting site in the world for sports. They are unbelievable. They have all your props. So head over there. Then my game of the week is the Chicago Bears on the road versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles looked good. And the Eagles love to play well at home. So here is my bet of the week. The Eagles currently are -5 against the Chicago Bears. I don't care if that was a -8. I would take this bet. I think that the Eagles, even though the Bears defense is wonderful, the Bears can't do anything right. You got David Montgomery, who's doing all kinds of greatness, but they are, game plan-wise, running the ball on the goal line with no timeouts and running the clock out on themselves. They're just a bad team. So I am taking Philadelphia. I'm giving away those 5 points. I believe that Philadelphia Eagles cover this week by a lot. I am taking the Eagles over the Bears at home.
I like it. That was good. That was really good.
We're going to make some money on that one, man.
I'll
say this, anything that I speak about, not sure about other people, but anything that I promote on here or I say that, I'm taking that bet. So my money will be down on that game on Nitrogen Sports. So if I'm wrong, we are wrong together.
There you go. That's a good attitude to have. Before we move out of this area, I just want to say that Royce Freeman did leave the game with a shoulder injury, so that's something to monitor as season progresses. That might bump up Philip Lindsay a little more. Right. John, before we wrap this show up, the trade deadline is today. Do you want to speculate a little bit who you think might get moved? I'll say this. I know the Patriots, the Packers, and the Bills are all looking for wide receivers.
What?
And Melvin Gordon is on the trading block.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you trade for Melvin Gordon, you have to pay him. And it's kind of interesting. One thing that I thought was kind of weird, one of the trade caveats for trading Leonard Williams, okay, the defensive tackle for the Jets just got traded to the Giants. Here's one of the, this is a new thing as far as NFL, not necessarily fantasy, but it might play an implication. It's his contract year, and they put a caveat in there that if he does not re-sign, I believe it's a 5th-round pick, but if he does re-sign an extension with the New York Giants, his new team, that bumps up to a 4th. This is a new thing. It's kind of unprecedented, and I kind of want to see this happen more often. So now back to your question of who are we going to see some trades. I think C.J. Beathard, quarterback for the 49ers, will be traded. He'll be a backup, probably like a 6th-round pick or something. I think that's one of the things. I doubt that anybody would give something up for Melvin Gordon, maybe a 4th-round pick at best. But why would you take that if you are, if you're the Chargers? I don't think they will either. But A.J. Green is a possibility, but he's going to cost. That's a 1st-round plus. If Mohamed Sanu can get a 2nd-round pick, you better believe A.J. Green's going for a 1st.
He should. He definitely should. Another guy you didn't mention is O.J. Howard. Weeks ago they were saying they're not trading him, and today it resurfaced that they are considering trading him. So they're asking for a lot right now, but the fact that he's tradable and he should be traded is good news.
Trent Williams as well. That's another guy that's probably going to be traded as well, who the Redskins have said, nope, not interested. Today they finally came out and said, hey, 24 hours left. Let's go ahead and try to be reasonable for the first time in our lives. So
yeah, that's all fine and dandy. So I have a fantasy football question for myself. This is asking for a friend. What do you think? Pick one of these 4 running backs to trade for in a dynasty format. Are you ready?
Okay.
Matt Breida, Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette, Mark Ingram, or David Johnson.
Fournette. Not even close.
What are you willing to give for him? I just wondering. I currently have Le'Veon Bell and Sonny Michel as my running backs, and I need another one. I don't trust them. My backup is Kenny Drake.
So here's my order out of those. Okay, I have Leonard Fournette as a top 7 fantasy running back dynasty ranking. If you look at his target share, his snap rate, and you see him yelling at the coaches during the game and all that stuff, he was right to yell at them. It was stupid what they did. But he is huge because that team is built to run the ball, and with Gardner Minshew there, or Nick Foles, I don't care. There's nobody else. Yeah. Raquel Armstead looks great. No problem. Leonard Fournette is the guy there until his stupid attitude runs him out. So I prefer him over everybody else you listed by a ton. I don't think it's that close.
He's going to be hardest to get. Is there a second one between after that? I have 3 second-rounders to give away. That's what I'm trying to decide. If any of those guys besides Fournette is worth all 3 of my second-rounders.
I'd put Mark Ingram up pretty high this year, but not long-term. He might be 1 to 2 year play. Matt Breida is wonderful in full PPR, but again, he's always hurt. His ankle's an issue now. And then Sonny Michel, gosh, if it's
I have Sonny Michel.
Okay, gotcha.
He's my running back.
He's fun, but you know that he's going to have a 2 or 3 point game. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
So the other guy's not
scary.
So much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm definitely he's willing to trade Mark Ingram. I don't think I can budge him on
Can you win this league this year? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, it is. I currently own.
The dog is saying your team is trash. I just heard the dog is
trash. She's deaf. I can't even yell at her.
You're on video, Armando. Be careful, buddy.
I can't yell at my dog because she's deaf. Tinka!
You have a deaf dog? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's 15 years old.
Oh wow, that's respect, man. She deserves to bark. Let her bark. She's had a long life. She should be able to go out the way she wants to go out.
It's fair. I'm going to shoot her. That's going to happen.
Old yeller. Love it.
So I do have a chance. I have my team is currently. I'm 4-4. I lost this week, but I currently have Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore, Chark, Evans, Cooper, and my running backs, like I said before, are just Le'Veon Bell and Sonny Michel, and I have Kittle as my tight end.
Just from you randomly off all those names, what I would do is I would combine DJ Moore, Sonny Michel, and a second for an elite running back to add to your list. So take those kind of second-tier guys because you have top-end players already and you have those extra threes. I would do a 3-for-1 trade for a rebuilding team. That's 3 young pieces. That's what I would do. DJ Moore, Sony Michel, and a second for go after Leonard Fournette. I would do that trade. You're overpaying. Try to get a draft pick back, but your team would improve. Your starter quality would improve big time.
Yeah, the thing is I'm a huge DJ Moore fan. Like I think he could be a wide receiver 1 by the end of the season.
I don't see it. He'll never lead his team in targets or yards received or touchdowns.
Maybe I should just hedge my bets and listen to you because I have DJ Moore in all formats, literally all leagues. So maybe I'll do that.
I don't know. You do you, bro.
Thanks, John.